Good afternoon, it's Marco Zanini, and I welcome you to this new webinar of 101 Cafe. The webinar has a main topic, and the main topic is how to set up a business plan to understand if your project is sustainable in a retail business model. So it's me. I am the developer of 101 Cafe. I work all over the world, including Italy, of course. And what is 101 Cafe? 101 Cafe is a network and is the concept store of high quality coffee in all its forms. Well, we have our payoff as choose your taste, because we have any kind of variety, any kind of blend, any kind of hot drink for any kind of support. So we move from beans to ground to capsules compatible with Nespresso, with Nescafé Dolce Gusto, with any different size of Lavazza, and also with paper pods. We have the international one, ESA 44, and the French pod, Sincere. Well, what we discuss today we discuss about what are keys to open a new business in retail segment, even if in a time of economic crisis, as the time we are living right now. Why could you open a 101 Cafe unit even if in this particular time? Why do you need to set up a business plan to run your activity, and how to set up a business plan to understand well, if your activity is sustainable. Here you will see the video with our TV campaign. We moved in Italy. We had six weeks of TV campaign in a national TV in Italy. It was very good for our stores. It was very good for us. And well, you will see something more about our brand identity here. 101 Cafe is also in membership with Franchise Association. The most important we have in Italy is also franchising, Confimprese and Fede Franchising. Our CEO, Mr. Umberto Gonnella, is also in the membership of Fede Franchising, as not only as an associate, but also as a main partner. And since December 2017, 101 Cafe joined inside the company Food Empire Holdings of Singapore. So Food Empire Holdings is much bigger than 101 Cafe, but 101 Cafe is an Italian company and we drive the business, while Food Empire is only our associate. But they have a very, very huge experience in over 50 nations all over the world in coffee business. Well, here a map of Italy as we represent our country, based on the roasting companies, based on the roasters we work with. So we have varieties of coffee coming from Lombardia, from Piemonte, from Veneto, Emilia-Romagna, Campania, and Sicilia. And any different region is different storytelling, not only for the territory, but also for the taste, for the tradition of roasting, for the tradition to build a recipe. Our network consists of more than 120 units in Italy. We opened 2 units more last Sunday, so 3 days ago. And well, we are continuously growing also in 2020, even if with the pandemic. And this is what we are all over the world. So here you can see represented only our partners, so people that already opened or companies that already opened units in the world, or partners that are moving the first opening in new countries. So at present we have 8 units open, but we are moving to any other country you can see here. And also something more, because for example in France we also we also have a third location in Toulouse, very recent. What about the market? Coffee market is growing, and it grows every time. Well, you know that people interest of people in coffee is growing constantly. And in last days, we had also some statistics here in Italy that people miss so much to take a coffee in the company, to take a coffee in coffee shop. They miss so much, so they take coffee at home. People are sometimes very sad, very negative, because they miss coffee, and they substitute the coffee in coffee shop, coffee inside the company when people work is more working, with more coffee at home. So it drove people to buy more coffee makers, to buy more capsules, to buy more coffee for home use. And some keywords to run the business. This is general. This is not only related to one cafe. You need to select and choose your segment. You need to understand what is the know-how in the market, what is the territory you would like to work. You need to set up an activity thinking to omnichannel. You cannot think, well, today I open and I am a retailer and nothing more. No, you need to think at least today I open as a retailer, but I need to connect people. So, for example, we work with physical stores, but also with our e-commerce, but also with our app. And the app is connected with the single unit, while the e-commerce is connected with the company. A relationship between you and the customers, but also between you and other shareholders. So between you and suppliers, between you and anyone is around your activity. Flexibility in range equipments and different models. It means that you can do some mistakes. This is true every time. This is also true at this stage. But if you can move the range, if you can change the range, if you can also move the equipments, for example, I don't know, there are people that would like to open a small coffee shop, but they are afraid to do it. So maybe they start with only a store, but they know that they can implement the store with some equipments to have breakfast, with some equipments more to have also the lunch, and so on. So here you move not only the equipments, but also the different models. Communication drive to sell. This is connected also with the technology. You know that it's very hard to communicate in an efficient way. You also have to think that, okay, today my country is in lockdown. There are much more people at home, much more people looking for social media, looking for internet. They get information by internet, so you reach them also by, I don't know, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, others. It's very easy to move one message. It's very easy to do a mess with your message. So it's absolutely important to prepare messages to sell products, but also good drivers to communicate the brand identity, to communicate products, to sell. Okay. Why could you also open your one-on-one cafe today? For example, because we work in more countries, and we have the structure to work everywhere. Because we are food retail, so depending by the country, you can work in any condition. I can tell you that, in most of regions, I have no the full information for the full countries, But in most of regions, you can work as a food retailer in Germany, in France, in Belgium, in Switzerland, in Italy, even if in a period of lockdown. So food retail is the last kind of business that you close in any case together with pharmacy. So, well, people need to eat and need to drink something. Well, coffee and single portion drinks are in a growing segment. We have a risk reduced due to the franchise. So with economies of scale, brand awareness, technology, you can figure yourself. Today you would like to buy something. Well, you select by your own some roasting companies, you select by your own some producers, some providers, and well, any one of them move you a price, may be connected with a quantity, maybe you have an MOQ, you have 10 different providers, you have 100 different providers, you have 100 different kind of payment, quantities, MOQ, brand, and so on. This is a mess, trust in me. I saw with my eyes some units selling coffee outside Italy. I don't tell you what is the brand, I don't tell you what is the country, but I saw a very, very, very big confusion. And I know that, for example, the network I visited, well, was in danger because they had problems to sell to people. Well, if I come inside one unit, I see 10 different brands. Well, I see the product, it seems to be the same. It seems to be the same. So that's coffee, 1 kilo coffee. Well, this is one brand, this is another one, this is another one. There is a different price, there is a different brand. But what is the difference? Well, in feelings of the customer, this is very hard. While, for example, moving with one brand, one image, very, very harmonized. Talking about beans, we have 24 varieties, but anyone is 101 Cafe. Anyone is with an identity, with the naming, with the recipe, well highlighted, and with one people working inside the unit that can explain you what is the difference. We are an international brand. Coming back to the slide, we have our own software system. We sell also in omni-channel, as I told you. We work with continuous training. Our job is not finished when you open. We start more or less our job when you open, because you need to be updated every day, and we need to be updated every day. Well, no more than 3 days ago, we sent an advice to our network in Italy that, for example, in Bialetti, there is an innovation in technology, makers and capsules. And well, this is very important. If you have your if you have your unit and you don't have any kind of support and you don't have any kind of information, it's very hard for you to understand what is happening. It's very hard for you to come back to your provider and tell him, well, I need something different. Because your provider can reply you, well, you are only a customer for me. I work all over the world with the same standard. I don't move something different for you. Well, this is a regular relation between supplier and customer. This is not a regular relation between franchisor and franchisee. Franchisor and franchisee are connected. If the business is successful for you, it's successful for us, and vice versa. We have a made in Italy range, well appreciated all over the world, and with 1,600 varieties in our range, with an MOQ very, very, very low. We talk about 1 carton per each SKU, where you can choose, you can select if you would like to buy or not one specific SKU. Well, now we come back to the business plan. Business plan is a provisional document where target is defined together, with together with any detail about what to consider for financial and human resources, and working on the basis of analysis for costs, market, and competition. Any business plan includes all of information connected with financial and economic questions regarding sustainability of the investment and development of activity. Final target for a business plan is to provide a realistic budget about costs and revenues for an horizon then at least 3 years, so you can have an idea about when your activity could reasonably reach the break-even point. I will go in details about the break-even point. Break-even point is your real target. In my mind, is not the turnover, but the break-even point. So why do you need a business plan to open your own business? And it's necessary to define the financial requirement, and if you think to look for a financial, because, well, today I would like to open an activity. I check my pocket. I have 100,000 euro, and I would like to open one activity, well, costing me 100,000 euro. Well, you know that I can find some sunk costs. Maybe I will open very well, but I will need a little bit more of time to engage people. So I need to have something in my pocket. So when I define my business plan, I need to understand what it could be, the financial requirement, but later I usually look for a financial. I don't invest only my money only from my pocket. Well, of course I can do it if I have a very big pocket compared with my investment. Okay. Otherwise, people, even if they are entrepreneurs, even if they are retailers, even if they have money, people are used to get something from a financial. Used. This is not mandatory, of course. Business plan is useful to predict eventual problems and find solutions, and it's useful to understand if the business we have is sustainable. How to set up a business plan to understand if the project is sustainable? Well, I come back to the last slide. You need to understand what is the capital available in your pocket, what is the capital financed, what are revenues and their origin, costs and their origin. Now we go in details about it. Revenues. Revenues are not only a number. Revenues are connected with the location you choose, your profile as entrepreneur, your business formula you select, and your target customers. Because you can start with a small location or a big one. You can start with a flagship, so very, very visible, with a huge investment, with a very important location, or with a small investment in a secondary location. So location drive is connected with costs, but also with revenues. Your profile as entrepreneur is the same. You could be an entrepreneur for self-employment, so you open for your job, for your own job, or you open as an investor to develop the brand, to, well, create a network, to maybe not only to create a network, but maybe to be a single owner, but you also have other businesses. So you are only an investor. You only would like to get money and get profits. So you hire a manager for the unit. You don't work inside. But in any case, we are talking about 3 different profiles as entrepreneur. If you are in self-employment, your target is to reach your personal salary. If you are an investor, your target is to reach a good profit. If you are a developer, your target is to create something sustainable, repetitive, so you can show to anyone else, well, this is working. You can work with us. You can work, well, with me as master franchisee, with the franchisor. We can move more openings. But these are 3 different profiles of entrepreneur. The same is for business formula. You can think that in one specific market, retail is better, Retail plus coffee shop, small coffee shop, small counter is better, or a big coffee shop is better. For example, in Western Europe, talking in general, the best model is probably retail plus small counter for coffee shop. In Italy, well, we are in the middle, but for our experience, our retail is working very, very, very well. And retail is something, for example, that could work very, very well in any country where you have particular conditions. Now, I introduce in the next slide. Target customers, of course, it depends by your choice. You can have as a target rich people. You can have as a target anyone. You can have as a target people coming, loyal, so every day, every week to buy their coffee, or tourists. But tourists are not to buy products. Tourists are more to drink something, so for coffee shop. Costs and their origin. Well, you know that here we will see these ones in next slide, so I go faster. But the most important ones are rent, salaries, services, products, shipment and customs, general costs, royalties, and investment to run the business, including shop fitting, so furniture, renovation, and others. Okay, we go in details. So we discussed about the business model as something very, very important to move anything included in business plan, costs and revenues. And well, the other ones, I consider that the most important point may be to set up correctly the business plan are turnover and cost of production. Your expected turnover is calculated, in my opinion, to reach the break-even point. So you cannot tell yourself, well, what is the target I have? My target is 100,000 per each month. This is very ambitious, but very, very ambitious. Maybe this is possible. Okay, but what are your costs? Your costs are 110,000 per month. So it doesn't make sense that your reference is only the turnover. The turnover is compared, the turnover is compared with costs. So your real target is break-even point. But there is one question, one point very, very important when you prepare the turnover and the break-even point. And this is the VAT. The VAT is, well, often underestimated. But if you take, for example, Italian data, if I share with you what is the average turnover in Italy, this is a number, this is a figure, but this is nothing if you don't consider that we have 22% of VAT when you sell coffee. So in the final price for the customer, you have 22%. In Switzerland, you have 2.5. In France, you have 5.5. Well, for example, in UK, you have 0. You have 0. So it means that when you compare one single sell in Italy and one single sell in UK for coffee with the same price for the final customer, well, you have a difference of 22% in margin. So in UK, you have 22% of margin compared with Italy for the same product with the same final price. Cost of production is connected also with the average margin, and margin is connected with the business model. So, okay, today you open a retail store, you know that in retail, the price is connected with the market. So when you have a competitor and your competitor sell a capsule, well, a capsule competitor, you can think about Nespresso. In Italy, the cheapest product of Nespresso is 0.37 euro per capsule. and well, you cannot sell with something more because people don't trust that you are better than Nespresso. This is more or less, this is the same all over the world. So Nespresso is the market leader, and you usually go below them. And when you go under their pricing, you know that here your margin is fixed by the market. While in coffee shop, your margin is higher and is usually connected with the store. So it makes sense that in Milano you have one coffee shop selling 1 cup of coffee for €1 and another one selling 1 cup of coffee for €1.50. Because the area is different, because the general costs are different, because what I provide is slightly different from the other one coffee shop, and so on. But in a general idea, margin is bigger when you are in coffee shop. Of course, average ticket is lower. In our business model, you can consider more than €20. At present, our average ticket is €22, I think, in a retail store per each customer, per each ticket, while you usually have around €5 for coffee shop. So average ticket is different, margin is different. In general costs, these are most connected with the territory. The most important cost is the rent, you know, but the rent is connected with the location. And the rent is amortized with sales. So this means that depending by the place, well, it could make sense that your target is to have more sales than more margin. You can move, you know, you can move prices, you can move promotions, you can engage people in more and more campaigns with more and more strategies. But rent is only a number. Rent, well, I heard sometimes people that told me, but rent is crazy, rent is very high, rent is not possible to work. It's too much high. Well, but it's too much high compared with what? Because you need to compare the rent with the other one rent in the same area. You need to compare with other area. You need to compare with the surface, with the kind of business. What makes more sense for you is to consider the rent as a part of the business, as a part of the location. So if you pay more for the rent, but you get much more for revenues, it makes sense that the rent is higher. Why not? Why not? But it's also the opposite. You can tell yourself, well, I choose this because here the rent is very low. Oh, well, but maybe the rent is very low because the location is not good. So also the revenues, also the results are very low. So you need to consider everything inside the specific situation. And this is also the reason why I tell people, well, even if we prepare a provisional business plan, it doesn't make sense so much if you don't have a specific location, if we didn't define the location yet. Because I can tell you, well, the average rent could be this one, but we don't know if later in the location we will have this one, we will have something lower, we will have something higher, location will be bigger, or location will be smaller, and so on. Your choice about the business model will have also a consequence on salaries. Very important consequence. Why? You can figure the retail store. Retail store is very easy in management because you have one or two activities depending by, well, the situation. In a regular retail store, you have two activities in one cafe: degustation and sales. In pandemic, you have just one, that's sales, because you cannot let taste products inside the unit. But you know that the activity is not so difficult, and you need to cover the hours. You don't have peaks that drive you to have more people or to lose sales. In coffee shop, this is completely different. Most of all, if you have lunchtime, because in breakfast time, you usually prepare the food before of the opening, before that people come to you. So people choose their breakfast based on what they find. While in lunch, they ask you what they would like to eat. They take the menu and they place the order. And you need to have people preparing the food. And you don't know in advance how many customers you will have and how many people you will need to have to prepare everything. So it's possible you have more people than what is necessary or less people than what is necessary. Well, of course, investment will change if the business model changes. And the difference could be also very high. Because again, you configure the store with the big coffee shop. Inside the store, you have furniture, a PC, well, so a little bit of hardware, software, and the furnitures. And of course the goods, but goods are not inside the fitting. While in a big coffee shop, well, you have technology, you have a lot of technology. You have displays, refrigerated, heated, dry, you have, well, you have refrigerators, you have for drinks, you have refrigerators for food, you have the oven, you have equipments to prepare the food. So you have a lot of money more. And you also need to consider more people working inside. So the investment is not the same. When you change the model, you also change the investment. And it could be very significant. Well, I come back again on the question of the break-even point. Don't be focused so much on turnover. Your break-even point is much more important. So you need to understand not what could be the turnover, but what I need to sell in order to reach my break-even point. This is your sustainability. Because if you think, oh, well, if you understood that you need 5,000 euro per month to have a good result in, I don't know, in Milano, in a suburb of Milano, well, I can tell you that probably in a suburb of Milano you can reach 5,000 euro, not with not so huge difficulty. But you need to, well, if you tell me, okay, I think to reach 5,000 euro in the middle, in the downtown of Milano, I tell you, well, it doesn't make sense you open. It doesn't make sense you open even if you get 15,000 euro. If you open in Via Torino, if you open close to Piazza Duomo, maybe it doesn't make sense that you open if you don't reach 40,000 euro per month. So it's very, very important to understand the full result and not only one point. Turnover is one point. Break-even point is the result of a full analysis. So when you analyze the break-even point, you also check what are some costs to run the activity. So costs to open the company, bureaucracy and procedures, permissions, registration and a certificate, cost to restyle eventually the location, customs registration for products. Well, moving country by country, we have some information. We don't have full information about all of countries in the world, of course, and what is true today is not true tomorrow, because, well, for example, in my experience, a lot of regulations move many times. For example, in Iran, I have a good deal. But I postponed my negotiation since 2 years ago because of the regulation, because the regulation is continuously moving, continuously. So it's very, very hard to fix what is necessary in labels, what is necessary in documents, what is necessary to register a company and work legally. So we postponed the beginning of the business. So I have information, general information, sometimes also detailed, and I can give you some advice about what it makes sense to do. In Tunisia, for example, well, many times I received a good approach from good guys asking me to work together. And every time my first question was, okay, what about the customs fees? Because you have 36% of customs fees to import coffee. Well, is it true? Yes, this is, for my experience, for my information, for the official information I find in European Union platform. But, well, this is a basis to check what is true and what is allowed on local basis. Well, here you see how it works a franchise. Franchise is a mix of, is a model based on know-how, first of all. We don't have a franchising if we don't have know-how to transmit. So when I told you we have continuous training, this is not only true, but necessary. Otherwise, we are not in franchise, we are in license. Well, I give you the brand, I give you products, and later, this is your problem. This is not franchise. Franchise is, I give you the brand, I give you the products, and I explain also to you how to sell, how we work, what it makes sense to do in your local base. Well, we match one each other about suggestions, we match one each other about strategies. I story tell you what is my experience in another one place, in another one country, with one specific product, with one specific position. Brand reduce the risk because working and moving with the franchise, you have scale economies. Oh, sorry, this is below. You have scale economies, but you also have prior information. So when we open a new country, usually people ask me, well, what are your top sellers? But not only in Italy. What are your top sellers in general, everywhere? What are your top sellers in Morocco, in Switzerland, in Singapore, in Kuwait? Because I would like to have an idea about what it makes sense to do in my country. What is less risky? And again, but I know that I have many options in the range. So, for example, now for Canada, we are running a small first supply with small quantities, but for all of products. So they can test everything and they can check what people likes. While, for example, someone else told me, well, I would like to work only with your top sellers at the beginning to avoid any losses, even if we talk about small quantities. I prefer to sell. And I think and I figure that what is good for you everywhere in the world will be good also in my country. Furthermore, there is the assistance. The assistance is for anything. Do you have a problem with the customer? Do you have a question with the customer? Do you have a question with one product? Do you have a technical issue? Anything. Here you see some pictures about our stores, well, this is another one store in shopping mall. This is a coffee shop plastic, a store plastic away inside the mall. This is a coffee shop with a payoff gourmet Italiano. But here you see that the most of the unit is in the counter because the sittings are outside the unit. And this one is a full coffee shop with the sittings in front of the unit because here we are again inside the shopping mall. So you have a sort of terrace in the gallery. And here you see that the most important side is both the tables and the sittings plus the counter, while the selling area is smaller, sorry. because the surface is 90 square meters, and the most is, well, to attract people to drink something, to eat something. This is our team. This is our team in offices, and this is our team in logistics. We have 2,500 square meters, well, full of products, and with people working more or less every day in the year. Well, now we are in Christmas time. You know that usually in Europe for Christmas time people close. Well, we close, but only in red days in the calendar. We don't close nevermore. Also in August, when everyone in Italy more or less is closed, we continue to work because our network continues to work everywhere in the world, and we are 101% made in Italy. Well, here you can find some reference to contact directly our structure. You find our number, but most of all the email address you can contact to ask information, franchising@101cafe.it. And well, most of all, I think that some of you already have my references to contact me directly. Of course, no problem. And here in the last slide, you find the video we realized to celebrate together with our customers our award for Insegna dell'anno. This is brand of the year 2019-2020 in category Tutto Caffè. The other one finalist, well, in this case loser was Nespresso. We also won the same prize in 2020-2021. We will release the video probably in next month, because the prize is in November, so this is very, very recent. We are proud of it because we received the votation from the final customers. We won the 2 last edition for this prize. We won the 3 last edition for products, Prodotto del Cuore, product of my heart. And you know, this is what we are. This is what we are. We are very, very proud of it. So thanks to all of customers in the world. And now I leave a little bit of time to you for your questions. Of course, you know that you can move any question also later after thinking about what we discussed right now. Well, this is a very common question. A very common question, very actual, and also very clever. Well, I received it a lot of time, to be honest, and again, this is normal. Well, the question for everyone, the question is about the timing to open. If this is a good time to open or not, why we think that it could work well, even if we open right now. This is the reply is that it depends. It depends by the country. It depends by the regulation. It depends by the conditions. It depends by your personal situation, because there is a question of money that you could have or you could not have. There is a question of, again, what is allowed on the local country, but there is also a question of costs. For example, in Europe right now, rent fell down. Rent fell down, and it's possible to find good positions with a competitive cost for the rent. And it's possible to set up properly the business right now, waiting for the reopening after the vaccine, but also opening right now, because we expect to open in Marseille, in France, in January. Our franchisee, for example, well, has not so huge problem for money, for financial. And we found the location. very, very easily. The cost for the location is very competitive, and well, it can run the activity because there are no problems for regulations, there are no problems for borders, for barriers, for documents, because we don't have, of course, customs, we don't have clearance. We already have everything translated in French. We already have everything in software and in packaging in French. So we can work. We can start also tomorrow if we have the conditions. So, in my opinion, this is a very, very good time to collect information. This is a very, very good time to prepare a business plan. This is a very, very good time to do some steps, maybe also to do an engagement. And later, this is your decision, this is your experience, this is your local situation. Well, okay, I see nothing more, so I consider that the webinar is finished. It was the latest webinar in 2020. Of course, we will continue in 2021. Thanks for your attention. All of you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope for everyone that 2021 will be, well, will give us more stability in our life, more stability in any aspect of our life. Thanks again to all of you, and get in touch for next time. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.